So this morning then if you don't mind, I think I will go through the 9-round breathing. I'll just go through it again for people who haven't been here before. Good morning, Steve, and everybody. Gosh, so lovely to see you all. Okay. All right, so let's just, before we start, I'll just see, this whole thing about the 9-round breathing is, if you've done yoga, the Hindus, I think, probably started this practice. Actually, with the Hindus, the Indians really were the ones that sort of developed the whole meditation techniques as well. But the yogis, what they do when they're up in the mountains doing some of these very, very advanced practices, they do this practice called dispelling the airs, which you're basically just trying to clean the channels in your system, so we're not the mind isn't so disturbed. So it's a sort of way to settle the mind. They have the techniques get quite advanced, involving colors and this and that. So we're not going to go there because I have not got enough practice in that. But also it's very complicated and it will make your mind crazy. So I think just at this level, we're going to work on the breath and a little bit of light and some work on the mind as well. So it's a sort of a bit of a purification practice. It brings our mind, there's a certain level of awareness that we have to bring to our mind to what's going on inside our heads. And it's also, a little bit of blessings, but it's just something to help clear your mind and stabilize your mind and to ground yourself. And it's a really excellent practice to do if you've got a very busy life and your mind's all over the place. When you come home at the end of the day, you can't settle your mind after a day of busyness, or if you've had something that's kind of upset you, this is a really excellent technique to just kind of bring yourself down. Okay, just bring yourself back to center. All right then, so let's just settle into our meditation posture. 6 minutes of yabbering, never mind. Okay. So if you are sitting on a chair and your feet are down on the ground, make sure they're in a parallel position and perhaps propped up with a little cushion so your feet aren't sort of hanging. Other than that, just check your sacrum is upright, your pelvic ball is upright. So you can imagine you've just got a bowl of water there. You don't want to spill it. And shoulders are over the hips. So now let's just imagine, you can imagine your spine as a string of pearls made of light, stretching from the coccyx all the way up through the spine, through the crown of the head. You can imagine someone's at your crown, very gently lengthening your spine. So you just sort of think of expansion. Very, very gently lengthen, lengthen. Head slightly tipped forward, eyes down. So your eyes may be about, if your eyes are open or closed, a little bit, maybe about 2 inches ahead of you on the ground. That's where you'd be looking if your eyes were open. And we have our eyes closed just because sometimes our external objects, movement, light, color, is distracting. But if you feel like you're falling asleep, you can also just crack your eyes open for a moment. Let the light in. Head is slightly tipped forward. If your chin is up, if it's raised, and your neck is crinked at the back, it disturbs the mind. And if your head is too far forward, you are going to want to go back to sleep. It creates dullness in the mind. So somewhere in the middle, just sort of like a nice balance there. So let's just go to the crown of the head and relax the scalp. You'll notice as you do that, automatically the face relaxes. Eyes relax, the cheeks, the nose, the mouth, the jaw. Let's go back to the back of the head. Relax that scalp. Relax your ears, your temples. And just notice your face relaxing yet again. So just check your neck. Relax your neck and your shoulders, chest, and your belly, your arms, hands and fingers. And your hands in the meditation mudra. So in this particular tradition, your right hand, hands are in the lap, right hand in the left with the thumbs touching, so it makes a kind of a little triangle. But if you are used to meditating with your hands in another way, that's fine too. Let's just bring the mind to the breath. As you notice the slightly cooler air as you're breathing in, it just flows over the outside of the nostrils, and slightly warmer air as you're breathing out. And just think we're doing this meditation practice this morning to help settle our minds, to learn how to concentrate, so we can continue to work on our minds, continue to reach our potential. It's this place of wholeness, of wisdom and bliss. This is who we really are, in fact. And why are we doing this? We're doing this so we can be of benefit to others. So just breathing in and breathing out. Just bring the mind very gently to the breath. If there are any sounds in your environment, try not to allow the mind to run off to investigate. Just allow the sounds to be there in the background. And watch the thoughts rising, falling. So just very gently bring your mind back to the breath if your mind is following a story. And try not to make up any stories with the mind. Just keep the mind in the breath. So before we begin the 9-round breathing, just make a mental note of where you're at. Just try and feel that. So now, for those of you who have not done this before, you can just watch me or listen. I'll describe it quite clearly, so you can have your eyes closed if it works for you. So what we do, first of all, is we'll take the right index finger. You can take the back of the finger, so the fingernail, place it very gently on your left nostril. You can blocking it that way. And then you breathe in through your right nostril, this blissful, radiant white light. And you can just imagine you're filling your whole lungs with this. You breathe right to the top of the breath. Breathe in till you can't breathe anymore. So fill your lungs. You can imagine you're filling your whole body with air, this blissful, radiant white light. And then just very gently, you can just slip your finger over the nose and block the right nostril. And you breathe out through the left, all your attachment energy. And I'm talking about unhealthy, grasping, desire energy, wanting, not being enough, anxiety energy. It's kind of like agitation that comes from attachment. And breathe this out as this kind of thick, black, yucky smoke, and this disappears into space with not one atom left. And so don't worry, you're not polluting anything, it just disappears immediately. Then bring that finger back, block the left nostril again, breathe in through the right. You're breathing in this blissful, radiant white light, filling the whole body. And just pause at the top of the breath and move the finger back. And breathing out a second time, all your attachment energy. Attachment to things, to people. I'm talking about unhealthy attachment. And breathing in, blissful, radiant white light. And pause at the top of the breath. And then breathe out all your attachment. Okay, now take your left finger, block your right nostril, back of the left finger. And breathe in, blissful, radiant white light. Pause at the top of the breath. And breathing out through your right nostril, all your anger energy. So it's sort of like we're talking about here hatred and bitterness and wishing to harm and jealousy and depression. Depression is internalized anger. Just breathe it out, get rid of it. And this kind of thick, black, yucky smoke disappears into space. And so breathing in, blissful, radiant white light. Pause at the top of the breath and then breathe out all your anger. All this yucky, horrible energy that poisons us. So the anger we have at other people doesn't necessarily harm them unless you are mean to them. But it definitely harms us. So we don't want it. It's best not to have it. Breathe in. Pause at the top of the breath. Breathe out. All your anger energy gone. So now you can put both hands down and breathe in through both nostrils, blissful, radiant white light. Pause at the top of the breath. And then breathe out all your ignorance. So for those of you who have studied the teachings with Geshe-la in this tradition, think that you're dispelling all your ignorance of not understanding the way things really are. So your lack of understanding of dependent arising, of emptiness, of the teachings in general. If you're not necessarily Buddhist, just imagine what you're breathing out here, excuse me, is just ignorance of not knowing, just not knowing things, just not knowing the way things are. And imagine things actually are often very different than the way we think they are. We interpret things according to our own mind. So sometimes we have ignorance coming from that, and we act accordingly in ways that are harmful because of our lack of understanding or misunderstanding. We misunderstand what people say. We misunderstand it. We misinterpret and misunderstand emails, messages. And then we react and it causes harm. So we can think like that as well. All right, so we're going to do that set 2 more times. I'll lead the second one through again, a little bit faster this time. And then if you don't understand, please raise your hand right now. Okay, good, everyone's got it, that's great. Okay, so right nostril blocking, sorry, right finger blocking the left nostril, breathing in through the right. Blissful, radiant, white light. Pause at the top of the breath and then move the right finger over and breathe out all your attachment energy through the left. Disappearing into space, thick black yucky smoke. Breathing in, blissful, radiant, white light. Pause at the top of the breath, then breathing out through the left nostril, all your attachment energy. Just leaving you. Breathing in. Pause at the top of the breath and breathe out. Just think all my attachment energy is gone. Now I'm blocking the right nostril with the left index finger, breathing out in, blissful, radiant, white light. Through the left, breathing out through the right, all your anger, disappointment, wishing to harm. Breathe in, blissful, radiant, white light through the left. Pause at the top of the breath and then breathe out all your anger. Breathing in, blissful, radiant, white light. Pause at the top of the breath and then breathe out. Your anger energy disappearing into space. Thick, black, yucky smoke. Now breathing in through both nostrils. Blissful, radiant, white light. And breathe out all your anger. Sorry, all your ignorance. Breathing in. And breathe out. Breathing in, blissful, radiant, white light. Pause at the top of the breath. And breathe out. All your ignorance, thick, black, yucky smoke. So the way we're using the breath right now is quite gently. Don't force that breath in. Sometimes it's taught. When it gets more advanced, you'll be doing it slightly differently. But for now, we'll just do it this way, otherwise we'll faint. So we're doing this one more time. That set one more time. So blocking the left nostril with the right index finger, breathing in. Blissful, radiant, white light through the right. Pause at the top of the breath, move the finger over and then breathing out through the left. All your attachment energy as thick black yucky smoke. Just watch it disappear into space. Breathe in. Pause at the top of the breath and breathe out all your attachment. And breathe in. Pause and breathe out. All your attachment energy, all your grasping and neediness, and wanting, and not feeling enough, all gone, disappeared into space. And taking the left index finger, blocking the right nostril, breathing in through the left, blissful, radiant, white light. Pause at the top of the breath. Move the finger over, block the left nostril, breathing out through the right, all your anger. Sort of like bitterness, wishing to harm, disappointment. Breathing in through the left, blissful, radiant, white light. Breathing out through the right, all your anger. Breathing in through the left. Pause at the top of the breath and breathing out through the right, all your anger energy. And if you are angry at a person right now and you have a situation, just imagine the energy of that anger, the energy of that situation. You're just breathing it out, let it go, get rid of it. It's only going to harm you. Now I'm breathing in through both nostrils. Pause the top of the breath and breathing out all our ignorance, not knowing, not understanding, not seeing the reality of things. Breathing in. Pause. And breathe out. Thick black yucky smoke. Breathing in. Pausing at the top of the breath. Breathing out all our ignorance. Black yucky smoke. While we're waiting for everybody to finish, just bring the mind to the breath. The slightly cooler air as you're breathing in. Notice that sensation over the outside of the nostrils. Slightly warmer air as you're breathing out. And bring the mind to the breath. So just feel, where am I at now? If you're feeling slightly more settled, just notice. So just bring the mind back to the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. So for the next 4 minutes, try and really focus. Keep the mind on the breath. Allow the thoughts to be there. Allow the sounds to be there. Just try not to have the mind running off to investigate, following the thoughts, making up stories. Just bring the mind back to the breath. So now just try and get a sense of your body in the room. You maybe feel the weight of your sit bones on the cushion, and the weight of your hands on each other or on your legs. We'll try and prepare our minds for the day with this attitude of trying to be of benefit to others, and with an attitude of gratitude for our health, for our life, for our friends, for our loved ones. So we dedicate the energy, the positive energy that we've created today, to anyone we know who may be sort of sick, or someone who's dying or has passed away. So if you have a pet, a friend, a loved one, it may not necessarily have been even just recently, it could have been a long time ago. Dedicate this positive energy for them, for all sentient beings, and for yourself, so we may eventually reach enlightenment. Thank you. Well done. You guys are amazing. So good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.